Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take questions. I have a bunch of questions, so many questions that have come in. So please continue sending me your private questions. And at some point, maybe soon, we're going to, maybe we'll unmute some people and we'll see if you want to ask questions, and we'll see if we can have a conversation. Okay, I'll just take this one. It's right in front of me. In dating, how can someone gain clarity whether he or she is making the right decision before ending a relationship? It's a really good question. So I would need more context in order to truly understand your question. I think that there's a lot of different ways that we can go with this question. Most importantly, this is a question that is for a mentor, for a therapist, for a dating coach. I'll tell you the difference between a therapist and a dating coach, just so you know. I consider myself a dating coach, not a therapist. A therapist talks about your past, and your dating coach is going to be focused on your present and your future. And so you need to have a particular person who will understand it. It's not a generalization. Again, a lot of the answers I'm going to give here tonight are generalizations. This is not a generalization. You need a particular person who can understand you, who can listen to it and be able to help you make that right choice. And very often you need to have that person. I always say that when you're dating, you need to have 3 people in your life to the exclusion of everyone else. You need to have a matchmaker, someone who really believes that the greatest thing that happens since the creation of sliced challah is getting you married. You need to have a dating coach or a mentor, someone who, even if you don't like their advice, you're going to listen to it. And a friend, somebody who's at your level, who can be an equal to you, so you can talk to that person. And so, and I'm saying that those 3 people to the exclusion of everyone else. No one else. It's not a survey. You're not meeting random people on the bus and talking about your whole life story. This is not what dating is about. Dating is a private, it's a special, it's a real thing. Yeah, it can be a rabbi, a psychologist, a doctor. It could be no problem. But again, somebody who is involved with the match, who believes that the greatest thing that ever happened is this match. Someone who you respect, which means even if you don't agree with what they're saying, you're going to listen to them anyway. And someone who's your equal. Okay, next question. Given that I'm older, I never married, I was told, probably miss my soulmate. He appeared and I messed up. Your thoughts? There are studies. There's a study that was done by John Gottman, who is a scientist living out in Seattle, who does quite a few studies on relationships, that he says that by the time you are 35, I'm just doing this offhand, by the time you're 35, you will have dated 4 people that you could have married. I don't think that means that you've missed the boat. I don't think that means that you can never get married. I think the issue with older singles often is that, you see, for every non-negotiable, you have to negotiate on a lot of things. For every non-negotiable, you need to have things that you negotiate. If you both have tons of non-negotiables, then what are you negotiating on? What kind of relationship is it going to be? So what I think you have to do is you have to decide, these are my non-negotiables. And the older you are, the longer you live alone, the more non-negotiables you have. So I think it's just harder. It's like, in order to make a change in your life, you have to have more losses than gains. My friend, Dr. Asael Romanelli, always says that. So as long as you have more gains than losses, you're not going to want to make a change. One of the hardest changes you will ever make in your life, maybe the hardest change. Well, I think the hardest change is having a child, because you have someone who is 100% reliant on you. But before that is usually the relationship. So I would say the second, but the first, to a certain extent, hardest change you're going to make in your life is the physical change of having to live in the same place as someone else. And if you are used to your certain place and your certain things and your home the way it is, it's very hard to allow someone else into your home. And sometimes you have to clear out half of your closets, and you have to sleep on one side of your bed, and you have to sit at one chair of a table. You have to really feel like there's physically something missing. And on the contrary, you have to feel like there's space in your life for someone else? Look around your home. Is there space in your life for someone else? Do you physically, forget about emotionally. Emotionally is very important as well. Spiritually is important as well. But is there physical space in your life for someone else? I really appreciate all of these thank yous. Makes me feel very good. You're stroking my ego. Feeling very good tonight from all these very nice comments and compliments. Okay, next question. What about the challenge of long distance dating? Okay, long distance dating. Oh, the long distance dating. I can talk all night about it. I would need another a specific question about long distance dating. But I will tell you that there's a book that I recently read. And let me get it. It's actually really amazing that it's called Virtual Dating by Eliza Ben Shalom. And actually on December 8th, I think it was just announced today, I'm going to be doing a live webinar with the author of that book, with Eliza Ben Shalom. She lives in Israel. If you've never heard of her, she's unbelievable. Some of the stuff she talks about is really great. I encourage you to look her up on YouTube. There's tons and tons of talks that she has. And I'll be doing a live talk with her. And we're going to probably be talking about relationships in a socially distanced world. She wrote this book during the pandemic. So there was a lot of long distance relationships. So I'm very excited to do a deep dive into long distance relationships and talk to her, who is, she's world renowned and an unbelievable thinker. I just finished reading her book, actually, Get Real, Get Married. If you've never read that one, it's a short little book and it's fantastic, just fantastic. So I encourage you to take a look at both of those books and take a look at her on YouTube. Her name is Eliza Ben Shalom. Number 2, why is the 3 or 4 month mark is when it starts to get more serious? Do guys seem to have commitment issues or get scared? I'm not exactly sure. Obviously, that's anecdotal. That's your particular story. I would say 3 or 4 months. You see, what happens is that over time, what you're trying to do in the dating process is build an emotional connection. A lot of people, and we spoke about this actually before we started, somebody asked me a question. A lot of people think that they're dating for a year, but they're really dating the same thing over and over again. It's just one date over and over again. What needs to happen in dating is 2 people who are very guarded. And the older you are, the more guarded you are. We have to just be realistic about this. So 2 people who are very guarded need to start becoming a little more vulnerable and a little more emotionally connected. That's what happens in dating. If you are doing this properly, this will probably happen at the 3 or 4 month mark, which is what I'm assuming you're talking about. Now, I will say, and I'm not here to judge anyone. It's your life and you do what you want, but touch will confuse that. Touch confuses love and lust. So you sometimes think that you have an emotional connection, but you really don't because of touch. Again, I'm not judging you. You do what you want. I'm just telling you the facts. Okay. Okay. Oh, here's another one. How do I love again? 18 years of a very abusive relationship and 2 kids. I just want to have someone who truly loves me and treats the children and how we deserve to be. How do I find that someone and be able to give of myself? It's very hard. Just want to take a moment and just take in how difficult it is for you. And I give you a prayer and a wish that you should be able to be healed and that you do find that special someone, that you do find someone who will love you. It's very hard. It's not an easy Not an easy situation to be in, especially because there's children and the children need someone who will love them as well. So I'll tell you a couple of things. Again, I'm generalizing because it's a general question. I don't know the specifics of your situation. Usually it's about a year. It's about a month for every year that you're in a relationship to heal. So if it's a new relationship and you're just gotten out of it, it's going to take a minimum of 18 months for you to just heal. So you may just be in a healing process. And during that healing process, if you're going through the process and healing and trying to make that change and because often if we don't go through that process, then we'll end up doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And you know what the definition of that is. So definitely take the time and heal. And what you want to do in that healing process is first, you have to also acknowledge, because if it went on for 18 years, and I know this is hard, you have to also acknowledge that you're part of it. And you have to acknowledge as to what it is and what you're going to do differently next time. Otherwise, you'll end up with the same kind of person because probably your heart feels one way or is attracted one way and your mind knows something else. And it's so important that you have somewhat of a connection between your heart and your mind before you get into another relationship. That's just my initial advice. I'm sure there's a lot more there. And I'm happy, if you want, I'm happy to do a coaching session if you think it's going to help you. Yeah, someone else asked about long distance relationships. Okay, I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to Eliza, and I think what we'll do is we will focus. It's going to be in it's a little more than a month. It's Thursday, December 8th, and we're going to do one on long distance relationships because it's such a big question here tonight. Yeah. Yeah, wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different questions on long distance relationships. We're definitely going to use that as our next one. Okay, we're going to talk about it matchmaker, but we're going to talk about long distance relationships. The books that were from Eliza Ben Shalom were Virtual Dating and Get Real, Get Married. If you've never read them, fantastic books. I'm a giver, and the man doesn't meet my expectations of giving. I give my all, and he doesn't want to take me out for ice cream. It sounds like it's an I love you relationship, the second type of relationship that I was talking about tonight. It sounds like it's a very one-sided relationship. You know what I would say about that is that you are also in that relationship, and you have to ask yourself a very important question. If that's the relationship that you want to be in, if you want to just be giving and not receive. It could also be that the person that you're in a relationship with is a narcissist. I know there's a lot of people who like fixer-uppers. I know. I've seen this a lot. You like a fixer-upper. I'm happy for you. Narcissists will always be selfish. You can't fix them. You have to either be able to deal with them or not. And if you can't deal with them, then get out of the relationship. Save yourself. If you can deal with them, good. So someone like this, I'm assuming the question that you're asking me, the person sounds like a narcissist. They won't even take you out for ice cream. You're like saying such a simple thing. You're giving, and they won't even take you out for ice cream. It sounds like a narcissist. If that's a problem for you, then don't continue that relationship. I mean, again, I'm generalizing here. There may be more to it than that. How much effort is required versus enough? Wow. That's a great question. That's a great question. I have to think about that. You've stumped me. I don't know if there's a specific, I've never thought of a specific, like a required versus enough. like what you're saying is hishtadlut, doing your part versus trusting Hashem. I'm not sure offhand. It's a really great question. Maybe I'll do a deep dive into that one, because that's a really great question. Okay, any other questions? Okay, if that's no more questions, then thank you for being here. I hope this has been helpful for you. You're welcome to reach out to me if I can help with anything. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on December 8th. We're going to do another one of these. It'll be on Zoom again. Eliza Ben Shalom is going to be Zooming in from Israel. So it'll be about 2:00 in the morning for her there. And she's agreed to do this, and we're really excited about it. And I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Make sure to tell your friends, spread the word. And I don't know, for those of you who record December 8th, I don't always know if I'm going to record before I do it. Tonight worked out well that I could record it, so I recorded it. But sometimes it just becomes a different type of dynamic and it's more interactive, and I don't record it. So I'm not 100% sure if it will be recorded. But I also don't know if she records things, so I have to ask her. This has been really wonderful, and thank you so much for being here. And we'll do this again very soon, December 8th. And thank you for all your kind comments. Just really nice, stroking my ego so nicely. I know someone said ego is not a good thing, but every so often you need a little bit of, I spend a lot of time preparing these and working on these and trying to, do this. So I'm happy you feel better. Thank you so much. Really means a lot to me. And I'm here if you need anything.